Hello, everyone. Welcome to CCUF International. We're here with Ryan. He's going to talk to us about Glendon campus from York University. Take it away, Ryan.
Thank you so much, Tess, and thank you to everybody who is joining us today from all over the world, no matter what time of day it is, whether it's morning, afternoon, night, it could be maybe even in the middle of the night for some of you. I am so appreciative of you joining us today, and I believe this is the first session of the day, so I really hope that you all have a fantastic time at the CCUF International Virtual Fair. So let's start off the day by talking about where I work, my campus, which is the Glendon campus of York University. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what Glendon is all about us being a part of York University and what that means, why Glendon is the smart choice for your studies in Canada. And also, I want to talk to you about where we're located, which is the beautiful city of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, which is Canada's largest city. So let's actually start with that. Let's start with Toronto. So Toronto, as I said, is Canada's largest city, and it is actually the fourth largest city in North America after Mexico City, New York City, and Los Angeles. We have a population in the city proper of almost 3 million people. Toronto is the home to a vibrant theater, film, and television industry. You may be noticing in the middle of your screen that big prominent landmark. That is the CN Tower, which is the world's third tallest freestanding structure, standing at 553.3 meters or 1,815 feet. If you're a fan of sports, we have at least four professional sports teams, and we are home to the Toronto Raptors, who were the 2019 NBA professional basketball champions. But most importantly, I think, to talk about Toronto and why that matters as an international student is that Toronto is Canada's economic engine. We are a global center of business and Canada's financial capital. That means when you're coming to study here, you are not just coming here for academics, but you are also coming here for professional preparation for your career that could either start in Toronto or start elsewhere. And I'm going to talk about how Glendon can get you there a little later on in the presentation. So, top 3 reasons why students choose Glendon. We have often asked our students, current and former students, and even applicants, why are you interested in Glendon and why did you make Glendon the choice for your studies? Well, these are the top 3 reasons that they give us. Number 1 is the personalized experience, okay, which you will definitely get at Glendon, and I will explain why. Number 2 is the fact that our learning is very much hands-on, which prepares you for your career success. And the third one, which is unique to Glendon campus in Canada, is a language advantage. You may be wondering, what does that mean, language advantage? Are you a language school? No, we're not a language school. We are a liberal arts, sciences, and humanities university campus that gives 4-year Bachelors of Arts, Bachelor of Science degrees. But we do have a language advantage because we, in a unique way, incorporate some language learning into every student's experience at Glendon. So let's talk about those programs that we have. So you'll see here that we have 6 different categories of programs. Now, so when you see human and social sciences, business and economics, government and law, those aren't the programs themselves. Those are actually clusters of programs. So we have 22 undergraduate programs at Glendon campus, and those are the categories. So under human and social sciences, you might be interested in taking history as your major, or sociology, or communications. And under the business and economics umbrella, we have business economics, we have international studies and business administration, we have mathematics, languages and cultures and translation. You could choose linguistics and language studies. We have a Spanish or Hispanic studies program. We have drama and creative arts. In the sciences, we have biology and psychology. Unfortunately, I can't talk to you about all 22 programs today. It would bore you and it would take way too long, and we have a limited amount of time. But I will highlight a few of our most prominent, I would guess, to say, programs for international students a little bit later today, or in the presentation. You can also enhance most of our degrees with certificates. So it doesn't actually add to your time at Glendon. What it does is it actually allows you to choose a certain cluster of courses within your program and from other programs on the campus as well that allow you to incorporate a certificate into your degree. So you could graduate with a degree in one of our majors, including a certificate in some very specific training like creative writing, law and social thought, technical and professional communication. It's a way to boost your major, okay? And it makes you more attractive to employers when you're graduating, and also for graduate school if you decide to go on to your master's and then your PhD. So let's talk about a few of those programs that are unique to Glendon. The first one I'd like to talk to you about is the International Studies in Business Administration, or the dual degree program. What does dual degree mean? It means that you earn 2 degrees. And you might be asking yourself, well, wait a second, a degree takes 4 years. I don't want to spend 8 years taking 2 degrees. Well, you don't have to. You actually, in this program, get to take 2 degrees in 4 years. Now, what does that mean? It means it's a very intense program. It means you have to be incredibly disciplined. It means that you have to be incredibly, your work ethic has to be very strong. You have to be very studious. But the fact that you can earn 2 degrees in 4 years is exceptional. So what are those degrees? Okay, so this is how the program works. In year 1 and 2, you would be at Glendon campus here in Toronto, Canada, and in 2 years, you would finish your International Bachelor of Arts degree in International Studies. What is International Studies? It incorporates international relations, political science, global business, law and social thought, all of these kinds of global issues, global political, geopolitical issues that we are so concerned with today, especially during the pandemic. You will have a very intense learning experience in that world. Then, after that 2 years, you would be taken to a university near Lyon, France, called Lyon Business School, which primarily actually teaches in English. And you would take your Bachelor of Business Administration degree from Lyon Business School. So you would have another intense 2 years where you would get hands-on business learning. And that also actually includes some hands-on learning outside of the classroom. What that means is that we have an agreement with the Canada-France Chamber of Commerce at Lyon Business School, where you would actually be placed in a company locally and get hands-on work experience while you're studying in France to do your Bachelor of Business Administration. So you can also join the International Student Association of the Model United Nations Club. And what kind of career paths? Well, if you were really looking to be a business person, that's something that you could definitely do. A lot of our graduates have gone on to be a lawyer, human rights specialists, entrepreneurs, certainly, lobbyist, diplomat, activist, anything to do with global issues and global business, global trade, economics. This is the perfect program for you. We also have political science. Now, the gentleman you are seeing here is Dr. Dan Burbicel. Dr. Dan Burbicel is one of our professors in the political science program. He is a graduate of Harvard University and Princeton University. Those are 2 Ivy League schools in the United States. This is to point out that our faculty come from all over the world, and they are trained at the best universities in the world. So from Harvard, from Princeton, from University of Toronto, from York University, from everywhere, UBC, University of British Columbia. We have European educated professors as well, certainly. Political science is a program that you may be familiar with, but it is, a program that has become more and more popular among students, especially as geopolitics become more and more crucial in our day-to-day lives. So what can you do in terms of hands-on learning? Well, you can take a course on the EU in the Netherlands, or you can actually travel to Washington, D.C. in the United States to study American politics up close. You can become a political scientist, a diplomat, or a public policy analyst, or an international and community developer, and so on. There are many, many professions that you can choose with a political science degree. You can become an international student recruitment officer like I did, because I'm a graduate of a political science program. In psychology, we have 2 streams. We have the Bachelor of Arts, and we also have the Bachelor of Science. Now, what's the difference? Well, a Bachelor of Arts is great if you want to study psychology from a very theoretical perspective, and you want to go into something like marketing or, that kind of thing, right? With the Bachelor of Science degree, if you do plan to go on to medical school, become a clinician, become a doctor, you definitely need to have a Bachelor of Science. So that opens a lot of doors that way. So that's the big difference between the 2. Now, in our psychology program, our director, Dr. Guy Prou, is the former director of the psychology at Baycrest Center for Geriatric Care. Why do I bring that up? Well, we have partnerships with 2 health sciences centers close to campus. Sunnybrook Health Sciences Center, which is a major hospital that deals with traumatic brain injury, and Baycrest Center for Geriatric Care, which is for older folks who are dealing with cognitive issues. Students in the psychology program have the opportunity to get placed at both or either of those health sciences centers to participate and conduct hands-on patient research projects. So Not only are you in class and studying psychological theories and concepts of psychology, but you are also applying those to practical research opportunities out in the healthcare field while you're doing your bachelor's degree. You do not have to wait for graduate school to do something like that. And what kind of careers can you have? Well, you could become a psychologist or a psychiatrist, a crisis responder, counselor, human resources manager. You could become a teacher, a speech pathologist. There are many, many professions that are accessible to you with a psychology degree. So let's go back to those 3 reasons why Glendon is a smart choice that students tell us why they chose Glendon. So the first one is the hands-on learning for career success. So what does that mean? Well, it means that here at Glendon, 100% of our programs have a hands-on component. And that can actually take many forms. So a lot of you might be familiar with the concept of a co-op or internship, and we certainly have internship opportunities through our programs. And like in the international in the international studies and BBA program, the dual degree program with the university in France, we have the co-op program during the French component of it too. But this can also take many other forms in the sense of community service learning as part of your program, community-based research. I was just mentioning Baycrest and Sunnybrook before. Field trips, either within the Toronto area or halfway around the world. Community-based learning, so actually going out into the community in Toronto and connecting with different organizations to learn about what they do and learn about how they impact the community. Lab work, guest speakers coming in. Of course, an internship, that's also possible. A part-time internship during the school year or a full-time or a full-time internship during the summer. That is also possible even for international students. And of course, a placement experience as well, where you are actually placed in a company. So let's talk about the personal experience at Glendon. Well, what we like to say is small campus, big heart. We do have a big heart. We're also a small campus in a big city. And so that's something that I always like to mention is that even though we're in this huge city of Toronto, a major global city, we are a very small campus that's really sort of disproportionate. Our size and the way that we deliver our learning model is much more in line with those liberal arts colleges that you would find mostly in the United States, but they're out in some small town somewhere in the Northeast or out in the middle of the country. They're not really located in giant major economic engine cities like Glendon is. So you really do get the best of both worlds. So how does this play out on campus? Well, the average class size at Glendon is only 26 students per class, which is it's about the same size, if not smaller, than a lot of high school classes are these days. What does that mean? Well, let me visualize that for you. So in a typical university at a typical size, especially in your first couple of years, your classes will largely look like this. You're seated in a giant lecture hall with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students. This means that the professor doesn't know who you are. You're a student number, not a name. And you don't really get to know your colleagues very much because there's really no way to collaborate in a giant room like this, right? It's not productive. It's mostly just the teacher lecture, the professor lectures, and you take notes. The professor lectures, you take notes. It's a very sort of, two-dimensional approach to learning. Whereas at Glendon, you have these small class sizes where everybody's on a first name basis. You get to know your professors. Your professors get to know you, which is very important for professional references for grad school, for research opportunities, for your professional networking with your professors and your colleagues as well. It's really important to really have those really close relationships with your fellow students. And our learning is very collaborative. So a lot of group projects, a lot of participation, a lot of social interaction. It's the kind of learning that students who really thrive off of being and taking the energy from being around other people. If you thrive on that kind of energy, then Glendon is the absolute perfect place for you to learn, because then you will be very engaged with the material and most likely you will perform better academically as well. So I want to talk about what's really unique about Glendon, which is our language advantage. Okay, so this might surprise you, but 100% of our graduates receive a bilingual degree. What does that mean, a bilingual degree? You may or may not know that Canada has 2 official languages, French and English. And here at Glendon, even though we're located in Toronto, which is a primarily English-speaking city, in the province of Ontario, which is a primarily English-speaking, predominantly English-speaking province, even though we do have a strong Franco-Ontarian community, and also Toronto is a very multicultural and multilingual city, English is the sort of common language, right? But at Glendon, we actually we actually deliver a learning in both languages. So all of our students graduate with bilingual degree. Now, probably what you're thinking right now, what many of you are, is wait, I don't speak French. I've never spoken French. How am I supposed to learn in French if I've never spoken French? I don't want to go here. This sounds too much for me. You need absolutely zero French learning in your past whatsoever in order to attend Glendon. Okay. It's not a language school, and it's not about making you fluently bilingual in another language that you've never spoken before. Would that be great? Of course it would be great, but we realize that that's completely unrealistic. However, we do want to give all of our students to meet them where they're at when they start their Glendon program. So whatever level you're at of French language, that's where we meet you at. So if it's 0, we meet you at 0. And then every semester you would take your courses in your major and your elective and general education courses. You would take them in English, and then you would take a French course just to learn. Okay. And then by the end of it, you will definitely have a bilingual degree, and you will have these language advantages. At least, even if you're not perfect, even if you're only at an intermediate level or, just, obviously not fluent, but lower than that, you will still stand out with a language advantage. You will have opportunities for better employment, pay, and advancement. You will have opportunities open to you throughout the world that would not have been open to you had you not had some of that second language training. You will have discovered new cultures and made new friends. 75% of students at Glendon count English as their primary language. And then 25% of students at Glen count French as their primary language. And so you will be making friends who come from, different experiences than you. I would also like to add that on Glendon campus, much like in the city of Toronto, we have people from more than 100 countries, and there are more than 30 languages spoken amongst our staff, students, and faculty. So very multicultural, very multilingual. So no matter what, you will definitely make new friends. You will also have increased cognitive abilities, because studies have shown that with second language training, or for some of you, it might be third or fourth language training, then at that point, language learning exercises parts of the brain that don't get exercised by other kinds of learning. So it actually leads to increased cognitive abilities, better critical thinking, judgment, all that type of thing. Some of you who are listening might actually already be very proficient in French. If that's the case, then fantastic. What that means is that you would actually be able to choose what language you want to take most of your courses in. So let's say you're a psychology major. The majority of our courses are offered in either language. So depending on your comfort level, you can actually choose to take some of your major courses in French. You could submit all your work in French. You can do, a lot of things in French. So that might be an opportunity for you to really become bilingual. And, conversely, as I've talked a lot about students who are English speaking who might want to pick up some French speaking, but if you're primarily French speaking and would like to pick up more English, then this is also an opportunity for you. And we definitely meet you where you're at for your English training. So for entry into any Glendon program, we only ask for the language requirement. We only ask that you're either proficient in English or French. You don't have to be proficient in both. You only have to be proficient in either. If neither is your first language and you haven't studied in either language at the high school level, then we would ask you to submit an English language proficiency test or a French language proficiency test. So if any of you, because this is an international presentation, so some of you might be taking a program like an accelerated high school program, like the International Baccalaureate, the French Baccalaureate, or the Cambridge system, you are at an advantage. So students that hold diplomas in those three systems actually get to earn advanced standing. What does advanced standing mean? It means that you actually get to take a 4-year program, which all of our programs are. And if your grades are strong enough, we will give you advanced standing for your final year in your IB or French Bac or GCE program, and you could condense your 4-year program into 3 years. So for IB students, that means, you'd have to have 3 passes at the higher level, 3 passes at the standard level, or 2 at the standard and 4 at the higher. Minimum diploma point score of 30 or higher is recommended. Scores of 28 will be considered. So We may grant a maximum of 30 credits, so that's 5 full courses, which is a full academic year for higher level IB courses with grades of 5 or better, depending on the program. So you can earn your 4-year degree in 3. And just a reminder, advanced standing is determined by our credit assessment team upon application to the program. So when you apply to our program, we're going to assess all your transcripts. And if you're in one of those accelerated programs, we will do an assessment in terms of how many credits we can offer you in advanced standing. And we will let you know if we give you an offer of admission. That information will be on your offer letter. Let's talk about tuition. So the fees this year for international students, and this is excuse me, in Canadian dollars. So for tuition and course fees, it's about $32,000. This is for a full year, not for a semester. We estimate that for most programs, the average cost for books and equipment is about $1,500. We do give you insurance for health and dental coverage and that's a charge of $250 and $620 for both. That's the YSF health and dental plan and UHIP. And so that means the total there is about $34,000 or almost $35,000 Canadian, which is about $26,000 or $27,000 US, depending on the rate of conversion of the day. We do have on-campus housing as well. It's not required to live on campus. Many international students, because we're such a multicultural and international city, many international students actually have a family or family friends in the Toronto area that they can live with. But if that's not the case, we do have on-campus housing. We have 2 on-campus residence halls that have actually just been renovated because of the pandemic. There weren't any students in the residence for many months, so we took the advantage of time and space to renovate our residences to the tune of $10 million. So they have been really updated for the next decade and next decade or two. So you do have the option of living on campus, and for international students, especially for ones that don't have any family in the Toronto area, it may be the best option for you because you're right on campus. Everything is taken care of. All you need to bring is your computer and your personal items. You have internet. You don't have to worry about landlords and bills. We have a dining hall on site because you'll have a meal plan as well. So you have a meal card that you can use at the dining hall and our other food spots on campus. You don't have to worry about cooking. You don't have to worry about signing a full year lease with an apartment somewhere in the city. You don't have to worry about getting to and from campus and a subway pass and all that kind of stuff. It really is the easiest way for you to have the full on-campus experience. And so here is the difference in cost. So living in residence, so we have 8 size options. Typically, first-year students get the smallest room. 90% of our rooms are single rooms. And now with the new configuration, bathrooms are only shared by 2 students at a time. So we don't have the large common bathrooms anymore. And so our room sizes range in price from $6,150 to $10,007. That one, the top, that's like a suite basically. And then we have a meal plan. We have 5 levels of meal plan that range between about $3,500 and $5,000. And this is compared to living off campus. So it can definitely be a lot cheaper. It can be, about 60% of the cost of living off campus in your own apartment. Toronto is an extremely safe and beautiful city. That also means that it's a very expensive city as well. So, you'd have to deal with rent, transportation, cell phone, internet, groceries, entertainment, all that kind of stuff. Rent, a 1-bedroom apartment in downtown Toronto can cost more than $2,000 per month, which is really expensive. And then you got to pay for your food. You got to pay for all the utilities and all that kind of stuff. You got to deal with the landlord. You have to sign a 12-month lease. It's just a lot to do, right? So I would say that definitely living in residence, especially for international students, is the best choice for you. And so we have an event actually coming up tomorrow. So on Thursday, January 20th, between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. Toronto time. So I believe that's between noon and 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Join us and other York University faculties for a virtual special event specifically for international students. So if you scan that QR code, it takes you right to the registration page for the virtual fair. It's going to be, Glendon's going to be there, York University's Faculty of Science, Lassonde School of Engineering, Schulich School of Business is going to be there. There are going to be sessions on admissions, on advanced credits. There's going to be sessions on finances, scholarships, and bursaries. There's going to be one about student visas as well, because to study in Canada, you need a visa. A couple of the advantages of studying in Canada for the visa is that the process for most countries is relatively simple. You actually are permitted to work on or off campus up to 20 hours per week if you wish to do that during the school year. During the summertime break, you can actually work full time on or off campus. And of course, I'm talking about paid work opportunities on or off campus. The other advantage too is that once you graduate from your program, you can apply for the post-graduation work permit, which allows you to work for up to 3 years to stay in Canada, remain in Canada and work for up to 3 years on an open work permit. So you can work anywhere in the country and any kind of company doing any kind of job for up to 3 years after your graduation. And then you can take that work experience back to your home country, or you can apply for permanent residency in Canada if that's what you prefer. It's a pathway to landing here in Canada as a permanent resident. So those are the advantages. And so you'll learn about things like that tomorrow during the York International Open House. It's a free event. It's completely virtual. So scan the QR code to register, and then we will see you with that tomorrow. And finally, I wanted to talk to you about our social media. So we have our own Instagram account, Glendon Student Recruitment and Applicant Relations. It's Glendon Liaison, or at Glendon Liaison. Every week, we draw prizes for international students. The current prize is an application fee waiver. So if you follow us and if you intend to apply to York, we might announce you as a winner. And that means that you can apply to one of our, or actually up to 2 of our programs here at Glendon completely for free. So normally it's $130 Canadian to submit an application form to York University on our website. We would actually waive that fee if you're applying to a Glendon program and if you win the prize. We also have IG Lives. So we have live interviews with professors, with students, with staff from different services across campus. So you definitely want to follow us at Glendon Liaison for the latest news on Glendon, for interviews with, important people on campus, with different programs, with students, to really get an idea of what it really is like to be a Glendon student. Just briefly, before I open it up to questions, I just wanted to say, of course, thank you very much. And I did want to mention as well that, yes, we are affiliated with York University, which is Canada's 3rd largest university with 55,000 students. Glendon campus only has 2,500 students. We're definitely, even though we're the original campus of York, we are very, very small. But that means that you also have access to being a York University student. So you can take courses on our main campus up in the north end of Toronto. You can participate in varsity or intramural sports. You can use their athletic facilities, even though we have athletic facilities at Glendon as well. You are a full York University student if you attend Glendon, but if you attend Glendon, you're getting a very unique learning experience compared to other programs. So that's it for the presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and I believe Tess is going to be opening it up to questions.
Thank you, Ryan.
You're very welcome. I can see there's tons of questions. So
yeah, we've got a lot. Let's start at the top. Let's see. Is there any chance that a university offers a full scholarship to an international student?
So that's a great question. So in Canada, 99.9% of our post-secondary institutions are publicly funded. So they are funded by the government, various levels of government, mostly provincial, right? And our taxpayers, foot the taxpayer bill for them. So why am I talking about this? The reason is because in Canada, there's an advantage. The advantage is that Canadian education is incredibly highly regarded because of the consistency of quality throughout each institution, throughout each province. So when you're a recruiter for a Canadian university, it can make your job difficult because you can say, oh, you can't say, well, this university is better than this one, or this is no good, or that. And you can't say that because all of our universities are very highly qualified because they're government funded. What that means, though, is that we actually do not give full scholarships even to domestic students. So students who, are Canadian citizens, permanent residents who live here, we do not offer full scholarships. We do offer scholarships for international students, however. So a full scholarship where you're paying nothing, no, but we offer significant scholarships. One of the scholarships I'd like to bring up is the brand new Glendon International Excellence Scholarship. So for students that have really high grades, who are coming directly from a high school, from anywhere in the world, who need a visa to study here, and who can provide us with a letter of recommendation from a high school teacher or your guidance counselor, you have a chance at earning the Glendon International Excellence Scholarship, which is a $10,000 renewable scholarship. What do I mean by renewable? Well, a lot of scholarships are entrance scholarships, meaning you get that amount of money in your first year and then that's it. This scholarship is renewable. So as long as you maintain high academic standing in your studies at Glendon, you would earn $10,000 towards your studies every single year that you're at Glendon, up to a maximum of 4 years. Okay. And you can actually combine that with other scholarships, because we have scholarships for current international students that you can apply to for the second, third, and fourth year. And there are also York-based scholarships for the first year that you can apply to as well. So that means scholarships that students from any faculty at York University qualify for. So you could end up earning multiple scholarships if you have very high grades and if you apply for them before the deadline, which for the York-based scholarships this year, it's February 1st. For the Glendon-based scholarships this year, it's April 1st. So you can actually make a significant impact on your tuition costs. But unlike some other countries, I'm mainly thinking of the United States, we do not give full scholarships where you say, come here and pay nothing because you did really well in your grades or you're really strong in a certain sport. Canada is not really capable of doing that. But we do have fantastic international scholarships.
That is awesome. All right, so we still got some more questions coming in. Maybe make this more general. What grades or GPAs do you need to have in order to be considered at Glendon?
That's a great question. So for our general entry requirements for most of our programs is about a B. So you're looking at high 70s to get into, most of our programs. However, we do have programs that are more competitive, like the International Studies and Business, Administration dual degree program. You would really need the equivalent of an 85 or higher, and then there's a supplementary application form for that as well. Psychology requires a higher grade. So it really depends on the program. And this is another thing that I find often that I'm explaining to international students is that there are lots of other countries in the world that have these national entrance exams or standardized entrance tests for universities, right? Like the SATs in the United States, right? Where everybody takes the same exam, you get a score, and that score determines what programs you're eligible to get into. In Canada, again, it doesn't work that way. I often say this a lot. In Canada, it doesn't work that way. So each university has its own entry requirements, and then each program has its own entrance requirements too. And so what's really important is that you look at the website of each university that you're interested in and the website of each program that you're interested in to see what the specific entry requirements are for that program. And it's not just about grades, it's also about which courses in high school, which subjects would you have had to have covered. For example, if you want to do our Bachelor of Science in Biology program, if you didn't take biology in high school, you can't, you have to have taken biology in the senior year, in the upper years of high school, in order for you to be eligible for the biology program. So you really have to look at each program, but I would say the general requirements in terms of grades is the equivalent of a B for most of our programs.
Okay, great. The next question. Once a student submits their application to Glendon, how long does it typically take to know whether or not you're admitted?
That's actually an excellent question. So, and by the way, applications are open. They've been open since October for fall 2023. And the deadline for international students to apply is May 1st. So you have a lot of time to apply. However, excuse me, the deadline for scholarship application for York-based scholarships is February 1st. For Glendon-based scholarships is April 1st. So you definitely don't want to, if you need a scholarship or you want a scholarship, you definitely don't want to wait until May 1st. How long does it take? So depending on how competitive the program is and depending on what the prerequisites are in the application process, it can be a very short turnaround or it can be a little bit longer. So for example, the dual degree program I was talking about requires a supplementary application process, which is a faculty interview, like a writing test, personal statement, that kind of stuff, right? So the selection process is a little longer, but let's say you're taking psychology. There's no supplementary application process for that. We're just looking at your grades. If you apply, let's say next week, and then, very quickly you submit to us your most up-to-date transcript, and we can see that your grades are strong and that you will have, by the time you finish your high school program, you will have fulfilled all the requirements for that program. we can actually turn a decision around fairly quickly. So there's no D-Day. There isn't like a decision day where everybody gets their decision. It really does depend on when you applied for your program and how complicated the application process is for that program. And most of our programs are not complicated at all. We're just looking at your grades. And then what I do as an international student recruiter is every week I get a report of all the international applicants, and I make sure that their files are getting pushed along through the system as quickly and efficiently as possible. So you could have a decision, especially this time of year, now that we're into the new year and getting closer. You could potentially have a decision within a month of applying.
Okay, great. Next question is, what kind of support does Glendon offer for international students?
So our York International office and our student affairs office on site at Glendon campus, especially if whether or not you live in residence, we do offer lots of support for international students. So we offer you guidance throughout the city, not just on campus, academic support, health and well-being support, wellness support, counseling if you need it, academic counseling if you need it, career counseling as well. So you can learn how to write a resume, have practice interviews, have networking events. We have job fairs. All of the services that you would typically find on any university campus in Canada, the United States, the United Kingdom, we have those here at Glendon campus, and they are open to all students, not just domestic, but international as well. We also have a specific orientation program for international students. So you are fully participating in the orientation for all students. So you get to know students who live on campus, who are from down the street, who are from another province, or who are from another part of the world. But we also do run events and services that are specific for international students, because we realize that you have larger considerations when you're starting, right? Cultural considerations. You don't know the city. You may have never been to Canada before, and you don't know how things work here. We are here on site, person to person, one-on-one, to guide you through the process of incorporating yourself into being a full-fledged Glendon student, just like anybody else.
Okay, that's great. Next question. One student wants to know, how can I apply, or where can I go to apply to Glendon?
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you can go to our website. There are two ways to apply. I don't want to get too bogged down with complications, but this is a Canadian university fair, and I know that there are going to be other universities from Ontario who are going to be here, so I might as well explain this to you. So if you are interested in applying to more than one university in the province of Ontario, you can use the OUAC, the Ontario Universities Application Center, which is a website, OUAC, that allows that, it's like a portal, so you can apply. And then you can apply to up to 3 programs at up to 3 different universities. So you have choice 1, 2, and 3. They're not ranked choices. It's just, you have 3 choices. So you could apply to 2 programs at Glendon and 1 at University of Guelph, or 2 at Waterloo and 1 at York. Whatever you can choose. We have 27 universities in Ontario, so you can use this website to apply to up to 3 programs. And it costs, around $250 to process the application and the supplementary fee and all that kind of stuff. If you definitely want to come to Glendon, you can use the York University direct application, which is on our website at glendon.yorku.ca. You click on apply now, and then it brings you to the whole system here. It's the undergraduate application form. If you're applying directly to Glendon, you can choose up to 2 programs for a cost of $130. It's this application process that we can actually offer the contest for the fee waiver. Okay, so if you are interested, as I said, follow us at Glendon Liaison. Follow our Instagram account, and then we do a weekly draw for 1 student to receive an application fee waiver. That means you can apply and not pay the $130, but you can't use the OUAC system. You have to use the direct York system for that. So there are 2 ways: ouac.on.ca or glendon.yorku.ca, and then click through to apply now. And that website, which is our direct application, allows you to apply to up to 2 programs for 1 fee.
All right, perfect. And related to that, what kind of documents would students need to submit with their application?
So once you've applied, then we will assess your application, and then we will let you know what documents you need to submit. I mean, the most obvious one is your high school transcript, right? You don't have to wait until you have your final transcript. For most of our programs, we can actually make an assessment on application based on the most up-to-date version you have. So at this point in the year, you would probably have your transcript that covers from all of high school up until your first year of what we have here is grade 12 or your final year of high school. For most students, we would actually be able to make a determination on admission to most programs based on that. And as long as we can see what courses you're registered in this semester and if you're going to fulfill the academic, prerequisites. So you definitely, your transcript is number one. The other kind of document, passport, not the actual passport, but a copy of your passport page for the application form. As I said, you can be proficient in English or French. So if you've studied in French or if you've studied in English in your high school program, you would be exempt from having to submit a language test. So TOEFL, IELTS, all that kind of stuff. If you've primarily been instructed in another language besides English or French, then you would need to submit a TOEFL or IELTS, or actually what we are accepting right now until 2024, I hope it goes permanent, is the Duolingo online English language test. And we require a minimum score of 115. I recommend Duolingo because it's fully online. It's much less expensive than the other ones. You don't have to go to a testing center to do it, and we get the results right away. So the best option, if you need to take an English proficiency test, which is not a requirement for all students, if you need to do that, the Duolingo online English language test is the absolute best option.
That is amazing. All right. What kind of clubs and sports does Glendon have?
So on campus at Glendon, we have more than 30 clubs. So we have the Glendon Model United Nations, we have Anime Club, we have the Debate Club, we have each program has their own club as well, right? Or several clubs. We have our full athletic center with basketball courts, racquetball courts, our cardio center, indoor pool, full gym, weights. We have a physiotherapist on site. We have a chiropractor on site. We have intramural sports at Glendon. If you're interested in varsity sports, so that's you're playing against other universities, Glendon students are actually able to try out for York University varsity athletics. That happen mainly on the Kiel campus, our main campus, but there's a free shuttle between our two campuses. So just because you're a Glendon student doesn't mean that you can't try out for our varsity sports. Our York U Lions, Lions are our team name. We have volleyball, soccer or football. We have American football. We have hockey, ice hockey. We have field hockey. We have tennis. We have pretty much every sport you can imagine. We don't have rowing, I don't think, just because we're not really near a place that you can do rowing, although we are on Lake Ontario. But we definitely have most varsity sports that you would that you would be able to think of, and you can definitely try out for those.
That's awesome. So we have time for maybe one more question.
Great.
What was your favorite thing about Glendon?
My favorite thing about Glendon, I'm going to cheat and I'm going to say two. So the people is number one. The students are fantastic. Students at Glendon, they're so engaged and innovative and just wonderful and friendly. It's such a friendly environment. Everybody is really close to each other. They know each other. Everybody says hi to each other in the hallways. We're on a first name basis with a lot of people. So the people are definitely what make Glendon what it is. Also, just the setting. So we're located in the Bridle Path neighborhood of Toronto, which is a very beautiful neighborhood. And actually, when you're on campus, you don't feel like you're in Canada's largest city. It's beautiful with these old growth trees and a creek running through it. And it's on a hill and there's these beautiful houses behind it. And some of our buildings are from the 19th century. They're almost 200 years old now. So the campus and the people is really what makes Glendon a very, very special place and very different from any other university campus in Toronto.
Sounds like a very special place, Ryan. All right, everyone, that is time. Thank you so much, Ryan, for this presentation. And everyone, be sure to check out other sessions. If you have any more questions, check out Ryan's profile on CCUF and you can message him there. All right,
Absolutely.
everyone. Ryan, do you have anything left?
No, that's it. Just, if you have any questions, let me know. And if you missed part of this presentation or if you want to see it again, we're going to be back at noon. So you can come and check out again and have a chance to get your question asked and answered. But thank you very much for joining. I've had a great time.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.